Honorable colleagues, I've examined and approved the votes in proceedings of Thursday, 1st February 2018. Take some announcements. We have in the gallery students of Starville School. If you're there, could you please rise? A round of applause for them. Thank you for coming. Kindly take your seats. Also in the gallery are students of Leeds British International School. Leeds British International School. A round of applause for them. Thank you for coming. Kindly take your seats. Communications from the President. Presidential decision to decline assent to 3 bills recently passed by the National Assembly in December 2017. Pursuant to Section 58, subsection 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 is amended, I hereby convey to the House of Representatives my decision 25th January 2018 to decline presidential assent to 3 bills recently passed by the National Assembly, namely Police Procurement Fund Establishment Bill 2017, due to lack of clarity regarding the manner of disbursement of funds, as well as constitutional issues regarding the powers of the National Assembly to appropriate funds allocated to the 36 state governments and 774 local governments, which conflict with sections 80 to 82 and 120 to 122 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. B. Chartered Institute of Public Management of Nigeria Bill 2017. Due to lack of clarity over the scope of the profession of public management, that this bill prohibits all persons who are not members of the institute from practicing. C. The Nigeria Council for Social Work Establishment Bill 2017. Due to lack of clarity over the scope of the profession of social work, that this bill prohibits all persons who are not members of the institute from practicing. Please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, members of the House of Representatives, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, President Muhammadu Buhari. Last but not least is an announcement from the Right Honorable Prince Chukwuka W. Onyema, Deputy Minority Leader. There will be an emergency meeting of the National Assembly, Senate and House of Representatives, PDP caucus today, 6th February 2018, time 4 p.m. Venue, Conference Room 236. House of Representatives Building, National Assembly Complex. Attendance is mandatory. Very crucial matters will be discussed. Announcer, Right Honorable Chukwuka Onyema, Deputy Minority Leader. Any member who has a petition to present to the House may please rise to do so. Petitions? Honorable Brown, did you move your seat?
Right Honorable Speaker, my name is Honorable Randolph Rene Brown, representing Dagmar Bonifera constituency. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from my constituent for a passionate plea to save his soul by your good self and the entire house because of the intimidation and harassment he has suffered in the house of Mighty Shell Nigeria Limited. So, Mr. Speaker, I seek the leave of the House to present this petition.
Please proceed and lay the petition. Honorable Pategi, proceed and take the seat of the whip. I don't know what happened. He was in the office with me, but I can't find him here. Oh, okay, he's holding Kano Caucus meeting. Honorable Wole, okay, you're just walking, you didn't clap for students from Leeds, British. Better clap for them. You know, it's part of my constituency. My son too graduated from that school about 2 years ago. Okay, I think we can move on. Any more petitions? None. We have a point of order from Chris Azubogo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague. My point of order is order 8 through 4, matter of urgent public importance. The matter in question that I want to seek the support of the House is on the urgent need to save the life of Olisameto. Yeah, because of his health status. That is why I've brought this as a matter of urgent national importance for us to discuss the issues at hand.
Any seconder to the motion that the matter be treated as urgent? Honorable Adekola.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker and my distinguished colleagues. My name is Honorable Sheikh Malezada Adekola, member representing Ekiti South Federal Constituency 1 of Ekiti State. I rise to second the motion that the matter be treated as a matter of public urgent importance has been moved by honorable colleagues. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Second limb of the motion that we suspend our relevant rules to enable him move the motion. Honorable Wole, okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my fellow colleagues. I rise to second the second leg of the motion that we suspend our rules, that the motion be taken urgently. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Chris, you can now move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My respected colleagues. My name is Honorable Chris Emeka Azubog, representing Nnewi North, Nnewi South, and the Okusiko Federal Constituency. I'm from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion on the urgent need to save the life of Chief Olisameto. The House notes that Chapter 4, Section 33, Sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, states, and I quote, "Every person has a right to life, and no one shall be deprived intentionally of his life, save in the execution of the sentence of a court in respect of a criminal offense of which he has been found guilty in Nigeria." The House further notes that the life of Chief Olisameto, who happens to be my constituent, is under grave danger, but presently he is facing trial on charges of money laundering. An offense, if convicted, does not prescribe death as the penalty. concerned that Olisametu, whose health condition started deteriorating in the hands of EFCC, which led to his collapse in court some time ago before he was rushed to the National Hospital. They are further concerned that Olisametu traveled to Nnewi some weeks back to attend to some family issues and was rushed to the Nnamdi Azikiwe shops to Nnewi on emergency due to complications on the same spinal cord injury. While on admission, the court refused the medical report, requesting to be given enough time by the hospital to complete their investigation on him, which prompted his transfer to the University of Nigeria Hospital in Enugu before the National Hospital Abuja in an ambulance to enable him appear for trial on the order of the court. Worried that he is on trial but not yet convicted and his health is deteriorating, further denial for him to receive appropriate medical attention overseas could cost him his life or permanent paralysis, since presently he is bedridden. Further worried that yesterday, 5th February 2018, he appeared in court on a stretcher from the National Hospital on the order of the court against medical recommendation, considering the grave danger he is going through. Aware that it is only the living that can answer to charges of criminal offense, and Olisametu, a lawyer I know, will not become a fugitive because of the charges he is facing if granted a leave to obtain treatment for a given period of time and come back to continue with his trial, since he is already on bail and there is surety. But further aware that the same court has granted some other persons on similar charges leave to travel overseas for medical attention, but has consistently denied the request by Olisametu, and it is perceived as different strokes for different folks without contesting the discretion of the court. The House resolved to urge the Attorney General of the Federation and Federal High Court Abuja to grant Olisametu access to medical attention overseas until he is free to continue with his trial. Number 2, to mandate the House Committee on Justice and Human Rights to follow up and report back to the House within 2 weeks. I so move.
Chairman, Rules and Business. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, when I saw the images on TV of Olisametu being stretchered into the court, I felt a pang of sympathy for him. But for God's sake, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, we're talking about, okay, order 9 rule 1 sub rule 5. It says reference shall not be made to any matter on which judicial decision is pending in such a way as might, in the Speaker's opinion, prejudice the interests of parties there. This is a matter, the motion seeks to question what the court is doing directly. So now if this motion succeeds, what happens? What happens? So I think we should be very careful when it comes to a matter that is directly in the domain of the court. If Olisametu is not treated fairly by the trial court, I think the next thing is to go to the higher court instead of coming to Parliament. Let's be very careful so that we don't dabble into a domain that does not belong to us. My sympathies are with him, but we have to be very careful.
Sorry, Chairman, Rules and Business. While quoting the very provisions of the rule which you helped craft, you did talk about reference shall not be made to a matter on which a judicial decision is pending. In such matter as no. May prejudice the interests of one of the parties. So I want you to point out in this particular matter whose interest is it likely going to prejudice, so that I'm appropriately guided. If this matter goes on, which of the parties will be prejudiced?
Mr. Speaker, if you go to the Constitution, Section 4 establishes the legislature and the powers of the legislature. Section 5 of the executive and Section 6 of the court elaborate. Now, when we take on judicial powers, we are crossing the boundaries, Mr. Speaker. So even without the order, the standing orders of the constitutionally, we are not supposed to do what this motion seeks to, especially as the matter is coming, whether of bail has not been granted, or whether indeed the court has not deemed it fit to allow Metu to go to. This is a matter that should be taken at a higher level, not come to Parliament. Not come to Parliament. What if you do and the Court of Appeal thinks otherwise? I think it's premature for us to dabble in.
Well, is the application for bail pending before the Court of Appeal? I need to understand all this. The Deputy Minority Leader, are you seized of the facts of this matter?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Like you said, we don't understand because one, the application for bail is not pending before the Court of Appeal. And in this motion, I don't see anywhere that he's questioning the jurisdiction of the court or the powers of the court. If you read the prayers, it's only urging that on humanitarian grounds, there are things we won't sit here as a parliament and you watch someone being stretched to court. It could be you, it could be me tomorrow. There are things that it's on purely on humanitarian grounds that the mover of the motion is asking that we as a parliament should urge, nobody's questioning their jurisdiction or their powers to entertain the matter. But please, that you should urge them that please, this man that was brought to court on a stretcher, it's an eyesore, it's wrong. We're not saying that they cannot do whatever they want to do. We're not questioning their powers or anything. We're practically begging them. They have a right to beg us because they cannot question our own powers. But we're not questioning, we're only begging. We're urging that please, we've seen what's happening, consider this person for medical treatment. You cannot be stretching people to court. It is wrong. Anywhere in the world, it is totally wrong. You don't stretch people to court. It's purely on humanitarian basis. Nobody is questioning. Read the body of the motion. There is at no point that we're trying to say the judiciary is doing anything wrong. Thank you.
Honorable Bode.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Dr. Bode Ayorede. I represent Owo Federal Constituency. On this matter, Mr. Speaker, the question is whether there is any prayer before the court. There is a bail granted, and this matter will be adjourned till March. If the lawyer don't want to bring him in stretcher to court, he can bring a medical certificate. I won't choose him for somebody that is on bail to bring him in stretcher. He has scored the point he wanted to score, attract sympathy. So the question is, what are we going to urge the court to do? A court that has granted bail, a court that adjourned for more than a month, what are we going to appeal to the court to do? So, I want to stand by the position of the chairman rules that except we are going to go sentimental, there is nothing pending before the court. We want to appeal the court to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
These are serious legal issues, really. And I know that from the very elementary and pedestrian principles of separation of powers, the courts cannot stop the National Assembly from passing a law because it's a constitutional responsibility that we have. So any decision of the court that is meant to arrest a legislation is an absolute nullity, according to the principle of separation of powers. And likewise, the National Assembly is not in a position to tell the court the decision to make. That is the truth. And the issue of bail is absolutely at the discretion of the judge. If he decides to grant bail, fine. If he doesn't, you cannot query it, you can only go on appeal. And if God helps you in the Supreme Court, you have to appeal to God. So, what I want us to determine is, since we can't tell the court what to do, are we in a position to urge the court, as the mover of the motion has sought to do? We are not forcing them, we are not compelling them, we are not saying you must grant bail or permission to travel abroad, but urging. Honorable Pajok, what is your take on this?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable colleagues, my name is Edward Pajok. Mr. Speaker, this is a very difficult question and it is sensitive because it involves no human lives. I would have rather remained quiet because I did not want to be misunderstood, but I have no option but to answer Mr. Speaker. Listening to the prayers of the motion, if there was room for amendment, I would have amended it to say we should urge the Attorney General and not the court, so that we are not seen to overreach the judicial powers of the court, which, as read out by the chairman, rules and business are very, very clear. But like you rightly asked, Mr. Speaker, in interpreting the standing rules of the House, and you asked which of the interests of the parties' interest would be no prejudice. The Attorney General is an officer of the court. He took the matter to the court on behalf of the state. So in the interest of human life, he can be urged, because I do know that since he is for the state, he can urge the court that in the interest of, because we want the trial to continue, but the man must be alive. The accused person must be alive for the trial to continue. Two, agree with the defense so that this accused person will be properly treated so that his trial can continue. So I think that if it is amended to urge the Attorney General, I think it would be better and not the court. Let me also clarify one point for the sake of my learned colleague, Honorable Dr. Bodi. Yes, the court had already granted bail. But the court on its own also insisted that the man should be brought to court because a medical certificate was shown to the court. But the court doubted that medical certificate and said, let me see the man. So they now brought the accused person to court on a stretcher. I know that's not the first time. It was the time that in Egypt, President, was it not Mimosi, Mubarak was taken to court on a stretcher. Sometimes that also wakes up no sentiments. But the truth is that we are not trying to sway the judgment of the court one way or the other, but let the accused person be alive. So the proper person that the prayer should be addressed to is the Attorney General of the country, himself, who is the chief prosecutor in the matter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, I think the second opinion comes from Honorable Sadiq. I've heard what Pajok said.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Sadiq Ibrahim. I represent Fufore, Song Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Adamawa State. I think the arguments for and against this motion have been taken, and I'm sure Mr. Speaker has heard it, and all of us here have heard it. But I would like to refer us back to the rule which the mover of this motion quoted, and the chairman of Rules and Business have also quoted. That is Rule 9, Order 9, Rule 5. It says, and I quote with your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, that reference shall not be made to any matter on which a judicial decision is pending in such a way as might, in the Speaker's opinion, prejudice the interests of parties thereto. I think the whole thing boils down to, in the Speaker's opinion, that the interests of the parties thereto shall not be prejudiced. Mr. Speaker, this relies and falls squarely on your shoulders. Opinion can be valid here, and all of us may stand up here and raise different opinions. We may not agree on the opinion. The opinion is yours. And how you arrive at that opinion is not for anybody to question on the floor of this House. That is my argument. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, I think we have addressed this issue of prejudice. And Honorable Pajok was quite on point. We're not talking to the courts, but we can talk to the Attorney General of the Federation, who is the Chief Law Officer of the nation. So I'll call for a seconder and then an amendment to that effect as suggested by Honorable Pajok be put on the floor so that we can get out of this quagmire. Honorable Kayode Oladele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kayode Oladele. I represent the North Emekwaku Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I'm from Ogun State. I rise to second the amendment as proposed by Honorable Pajok.
Honorable Chris, are there additional information that you wouldn't want to pass around? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My respected colleagues, I want to begin with thanking you for giving me the privilege to speak on this. I want to bring us to the knowledge that this House is in no way trying to challenge the powers of the court or the law of the land with this. And I'm begging, because I am asking you as House of Nigerian man or Nigerian people to support this motion on the grounds of humanitarian purposes to save the life of a young politicians like us who will continue to contribute to the growth of democracy in the country. I want to ask that you support that this motion go through, because the need for us to save his life, for him to engage, to carry out the surgery that has been proposed for him, is important. If it's only when he's alive that he can face the trials that is being charged against him. And we have to know that if he's dead, we will not be able to try or convict him. And we're not working against the issue of the war against fight against corruption. We're for it as lawmakers. We're in support that anybody that offends the law of the land must be tried and if possible convicted. But he must be alive. That's why I'm appealing that you support this motion, that you will be granted the leave for him to go and receive adequate medical care. I so move. Thank you.
Honorable Pledge of your amendment, please.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, my amendment is that we delete any reference to the court that is trying the matter and rather urge, that is not mandate, urge the Attorney General to look into the matter to ensure that the accused person is properly given access to medical treatment so that he can properly stand for his trial. That is my amendment, sir.
Any seconder to the amendment? Honorable Doyediri.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Diri Doye, representing Yenagwa Kolokuma Obokuma Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State. I rise to second the amendment by Edward Majok. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. First order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to provide for establishment of the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria to be charged with the responsibility of regulating and managing environmental policies, practices of Nigeria, and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 25th January 2018. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move the bill be now read third time.
Silence, please.
Honorable Speaker.
Order. Honorable members, please take your seats.
My name is Honorable Mohamed Tari.
Please.
I represent Martin Mamunongazai, Federal Constituency of Borno State, as the leader by the grace of Mr. Speaker. I hereby move that a bill for an act to provide for establishment of the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria and for related matters, House Bill 1022 be read the third time. I so move.
Rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the good people of Uruku, my dear colleagues. I'm from Benue State. I rise to second for the third reading of Bill number 1 on the order paper as moved by the acting leader of the House. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. I invite the clerk to read the law.
a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Institute of Environmental Practitioners of Nigeria and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Second order of the day, honorable colleagues, is the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the National Biotechnology Development Agency and related matters. Honorable members will recall the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 25th January 2018. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move the bill be now read the third time.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I remain Mohamed Taib Momuno. I represent Martin Momuno, Gaza Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that a bill for an act to establish National Biotechnology Development Agency and for related matters, House Bill 33 be read the third time. I so move.
Honorable Ayuba.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker and my honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Ayuba Mohamed Bello. I represent the very good people of Jere Federal Constituency and I'm from Borno State. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I rise to second that the bill for an act to establish the National Biotechnology Development Agency and for related matters that three be read in third time. And so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is now invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish National Biotechnology Development Agency and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Third order of the day, honorable colleagues, commencement of debate on the general principles of bill for an act to establish Federal University of Technology Enugu and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Patrick Asadu. Honorable members who recall the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 6 June 2017. And I invite Honorable Asadu to move that bill be now read second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, may I move that a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Technology Enugu and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters be read a second time. I do move, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion that the bill to establish the Federal University of Technology Enugu be read a second time.
Okay, Honorable Asadu, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues, I remain Honorable Asadu, representing Sukai Gweze South of Enugu State. And I urge my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, and indeed all to support this bill that is aimed at deepening our educational capacity, knowing that any government or any nation state that aims at attaining greatness and sustainable development ought to create enough access of its citizens to acquire education, and not just any education but qualitative and functional education that will enable us compete with a globalized economy. In an economy where our own source of revenue has been more or less focused on oil, one sure way of repositioning our growing population is to, of the unemployed, unemployed and unemployable, is to avoid a quality education at the highest level, especially in areas of vocational, technological, and technical education. The neglect of this type of education making our national development a mirage. We need competent and internationally competitive auto mechanics, engineers, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and electrical engineers, fashion and leather engineer designers, storekeepers, and technologically competent farmers and processors. Graduates of this institution that is proposed for Enugu will not only be dependent on the ever disappearing white-collar job, but to be self-employable. And the university devoted to developing this kind of, giving this capacity to Nigerians, we produce both middle and high-level professionals needed to take Nigeria to the next level. Many of the jobs, the bill is intended to establish a federal school of technology college in Enugu. It will run colleges and faculties for all levels of vocational, technical, and technological education. That is why it is different from most of the existing universities of technology, because it is meant to harness abundant manpower that we lose to paper qualification. The National Policy of Education 2004 places a serious emphasis on vocational and technical education, and for us, from that part of the world, technology and technical competence has been a mainstay of the economy. The proposed university conceptualized to offer opportunities to our children without undue emphasis on academics at the expense of technical skills. Those who cannot make it to graduate levels are all trained in different vocations. That's why there are institutions and institutes and in the proposed university. Fortunately, sir, the proposed university is not meant to start as a de novo project for the government of Nigeria, but rather to inherit an existing institution that once belonged to the old East Central States, and that's the Institute of Management and Technology, Enugu. The Institute of Management and Technology, Enugu is a hybrid institution established in 1973 by the old Eastern region, but inherited by the present Enugu state government. And it was proposed as a nuclear school for the, as it is proposed now, will serve as a nuclear school for the Federal University of Technology, Enugu. IMT presently has 2 main campuses, 9 schools, and 40 departments. The manpower and other infrastructural needs for the students of the proposed university will be aided by the presence of renowned technical and technology-based institutions like the Government Technical School College nearby, the Science Equipment Development Enugu SEDI, the Project Development Institute Broda Enugu, and the other technologically based schools. The Enugu State government is very willing to hand over the IMT and all these structures, and the passage of this bill will actually initiate the IMT establishment law in Enugu. Or the state government is also ready to get that bill reviewed at the state level. What we are arguing, sir, what we are pleading is that for a state that was so big and huge and competitive when it was being funded by the old East Central States, now it is becoming a charade of what it was meant to be, because Enugu is not just a non-oil producing state, but it's been enabled with so many other expenditure items that the technology and the quality of education of that great school is falling. And we pray that instead of allowing it to fall, we should convert this school and expand the mandate to make sure that it captures, makes provision for the academically gifted, but also make more opportunities open for those who are not very academically gifted, but who are technologically and technically or vocationally inclined. This bill, if passed into law, my colleagues, will address so many gaps that we notice in the middle jobs that we get both in our housing sector and especially in our other technical sectors. Mr. Speaker, the bill is divided into 5 parts. Part 1 is made of sections 1 to 11, which establishes the objects of the institution, the structure, the governing council, members of the council, tenure of office, and removal of office of the principal affairs of the university. Part 2 of the bill provides for the principal officers of the Federal University of Educational and Technical Education, the Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, and all that. Part 3 talks about the establishment fund of the university, general estimates, accounts, audits, annual reports, power to accept gifts, and others. Part 4 makes miscellaneous provisions like transitional and saving provisions. Part 5 is the schedule of the bill. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I pray and request and plead that this House do consider the issue of establishing the Federal University of Technology in Enugu, and especially taking the structure that is already existing, that cost us next to nothing, but just giving opportunities to our children to get education that can give them self-employable opportunities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues, please, may all support this the second reading. I so plead.
Any contributor to the debate? Honorable Emeka Ujam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I'm Honorable Dr. Emeka Ujam. I represent the very good people of Kano East and Kano West Federal Constituency, and I'm from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, mine is simple. First, to thank the mover of this very important bill for bringing this to the chambers of this National Assembly, and to solicit the support of our colleagues to ensure the speedy passage of this bill. The bill is straightforward. It seeks really to empower the teeming youths who are looking for places where they can develop their skills. By and large, people from the state are blessed with intellectual prowess, and establishing a Federal University of Technology would further hone those skills they have and bring jobs, make sure that on graduation they become useful human beings to this country. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I pray that with the speed of light, the second reading is passed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues.
Honorable Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Amadi Dennis Ogerinwa, member representing Udi and executive federal constituency of Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, I wish to lend my voice to support this bill, which I am able to move by Honorable Patrick Asado. Mr. Speaker, IMT has been described previously prior to the enactment of this bill, proposal of this bill. It is an institution that is as old as the Yaba College of Technology. The technology output of the middle management manpower, which this school has produced in the country, is something that is being noticed in all sectors of the economy, both in manufacturing, both in electrical installations, both in oil and gas. The school within Israel has been able to train manpower that distributes itself in various fields. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, Enugu State is the hub of Eastern region, and due to the situation in the country, the of our students to go into federal universities. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I appeal to you and my honorable colleagues to support this bill. It will go a lot to relieve Enugu State government of the burden of this institution. This institution is being attended from people across boards, both within each ethnic society that in Enugu, not just for the common people that of Enugu State. It will help the economy, it will help our educational system, it will also strengthen our quest to improve on technology advancement of Nigeria. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I appeal to my colleagues to ensure the speed passage of this bill for the second reading. Thank you very much.
Honorable Princess. Yes.
I am Princess Telam. I represent the people of Igbo-Etiti, Uzuwa and the Federal Constituency. I am from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, we all know that education is the bedrock of development. We are all aware that technology drives this process very well. With technology, it is possible to move the wheel of development of any society. The school we are talking about has been a very good school down there in Enugu State and in the southeast geopolitical zone. The southeast geopolitical zone is made up of states
Silence, please.
that are
All the honorable members, members, please.
Blessed.
Silence, please.
If you talk about Nnewi in Anambra State, Nnewi is virtually made up of technologies. That is why you have businessmen who are producers of motorcycles and vehicles and motor parts. Aba is known for industry and factories too. You have the leather factory and industries in Aba. The Aba people are blessed with a lot of technological know-how. So making this school a university is going to be of great help to the entire people of the southern east and also people of Nigeria. Technology is very important in everything we do. Are we talking about health? Technology is very important. Are we talking about agriculture? It is very important. Are we talking about business? It is very important. I urge my honorable colleagues to support this bill because it's going to prove the educational background of the people of Nigeria and also improve technology of needed for these sectors to move forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues.
Any more contribution? I'll put the question. Oh, okay. Honorable UK.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Azodo Ukeri. I represent Agbata Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I just want to join my hands in thanking the mover of this motion because this has been long overdue. IMT, Institute of Management and Technology, was established since 1973 and they have all the equipment to make it a university. So it will go a long way in helping the Southerners, the Southeasterners, in attending vocational training and technological training, which will help them in being self-employed. So we are pleading for the support of this particular bill so that the university, the polytechnic will be converted to university. That's my motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. I'll put the question. And the question is that the bill be now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Technology Enugu to make comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill is referred to Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. Fourth order of the day, honorable colleagues, the motion or call for investigation of the activities of Total E and P Nigeria Limited on the deliberate neglect, underdevelopment and abandonment of its corporate legal responsibilities under the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010. Standing in the name of Honorable Awaji Abiente, Honorable Abiente is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my distinguished colleagues. I am Awaji Nombek Dagomie Abiante. I represent Andoni, Opobo, Nkoro, Federal Constituency of Rivers State. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I rise to move the motion call for investigation of the activities of Total E and P Nigeria Limited on the deliberate neglect, underdevelopment and abandonment of its corporate legal responsibility under the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010. They also know that Andoni local government area of Rivers State is one of the oil producing areas in the country. They have recalled that Total Exploration and Production Limited
formerly known as Elf Petroleum Nigeria Limited, established the Menam Kono oil platform as far back as 1990 in the community and the adjoining territorial waters, as well as drilled several inherent and associated oil wells in the area, including Osan and Asobo, etc. The House, aware that the Menam Kono field established upon oil mining lease OML 99 and 70 is one of the largest conventional offshore developments in West Africa, and from official records, from 2003 crude oil from the said facility, as well as larger quantity of gas from the field. The House also notes that out of over 50 contractors and subcontractors that work for Total in establishing the platform and are still working for it in its operations, not one was or is abandoning extraction, contrary to the provisions of Section 3 sub 2, Section 25, 26, 27 and 28 of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010. The House observed that official government records confirm that from 1990, when it established the Menam Kono platform till date, spanning over 27 years of continuous oil and gas extraction and operations, Total E&P Limited has not executed cumulative development projects worth up to 200 million naira in the towns of the host communities, despite the profit of billions of dollars from its operations in the communities. The House also observes that the local government is the host of the proposed Egina field, and same situation that applied to the establishment of Akpo fields and all the previous fields by Total has also applied and is being implemented in respect to the Akpo, Egina and often 2 fields situated within the waters of Andoni environment in terms of naming of the facilities, contracts, capacity building, employment and development projects. The House also aware that whereas phase 1 of the Akpo field, which produces 145,000 barrels per day of crude oil, is situated off Andoni coastal waters, Total elected not to inform or consult with the communities of the commencement of either phase of the development and operations of the fields, thus keeping the people out of the environmental impact assessment studies and issues and local content components of the project as the host communities by way of capacity building, employment, contracts, developmental projects and every other benefit as provided for in the laws. The House concerned that Total has not maintained a good relationship with the host communities, and by current estimates, the project is estimated to be worth over $3.5 billion and projected to create over 50,000 jobs. But currently, Total E&P and its joint venture partners, Free Zone Enterprises, have commenced staff recruitment without employing a single Andoni indigene. The House also concerned that Andoni local government area has lately been beset by uncontrolled cult activities, unprecedented armed robbery, kidnappings, reprisal killings, mayhem and destruction engendered by joblessness and lack of meaningful means of livelihood for the teeming youth population, and also Total's failure to award contracts to them, build their capacities and provide the needed community development and opportunities is a direct invitation for youth restiveness, which is imminent if the issues are not quickly addressed. I therefore call on this House to resolve to mandate the committees on local content and legislative compliance to investigate these allegations and the local content components of the projects in the area, with a view to ensuring that Total E&P Nigeria Limited do include the youths of Andoni in its recruitment process of both graduate and non-graduate staff, award contracts to indigenes, embark upon capacity building and community development projects, and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Wadigi Apotai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Widra Ekotai. I represent Eket, Ona, Esreket, even of Federal Constituency. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Abianta. I so second.
Honorable Abiante, please 2 minutes to round up your argument on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and my distinguished colleagues.
expected, Mr. Speaker, that by our current level of development, by the issues and challenges that we have, that we would have grown past this level, we would have grown past this point, where the Andoni man, where the Ijo man, where the Rivers man, where the Niger Delta man would only get anything from government out of agitation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issues of the Willing Commission was as a result of agitations. The organic cleanup was only possible through agitations. The development of the NDDC was through agitations. Mr. Speaker, we are tired of agitating for our own rights. We are only asking total E&P to do us justice, to do what is right, to engage the people from the host communities, to award contracts to the people that are qualified from the host communities, to help us develop the host communities. It is an aberration, Mr. Speaker, that even the laws of the land are not respected by these oil companies. Mr. Speaker, it is embarrassing that the companies will keep taking what they have under the ground, but there is no concern about the well-being, the welfare of the people, not even the environment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is just part of the challenges we have always had, and we want this house to join us in ensuring a proper investigation of the activities of Total E&P, beginning from, let it be the beginning of getting things done and getting them done right, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from this, if we're able to get it right, it will ensure that there will be peace within the area. It will ensure that there will be development within the area. It will ensure, Mr. Speaker, that the people will now begin to partner with the companies and partner with government. Mr. Speaker, this singular investigation holds a lot to the development of the oil and gas industry. Imagine an area that has been producing and delivering 145,000 barrels of crude oil per day. Mr. Speaker, even at $20 per barrel, at $50 per barrel, at $70 per barrel, we have not had anything from these companies. This is the time for this house to rise and support the host communities, beginning from this issue of total gas. Thank you very much. I so submit.
It's an investigative motion, so in line with the provisions of our rules, I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, please listen to this announcement. Honorable Aminu Shehu Shagari, Honorable Pajok, Honorable Yinka Jai, Honorable Linda Ikbazu, Honorable Doye Diri, Honorable Sadiq Ibrahim. They are both named members, should meet with the Deputy Speaker in his office immediately after plenary today, 6th of February 2018. Second announcement, there will be a meeting of Nigerian delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament with the Deputy Speaker tomorrow, 7th February 2018, after plenary. Attendance is mandatory. So all members of ECOWAS Parliament, I think one of them, they have to see the Deputy Speaker immediately after plenary tomorrow, 7th February 2018. Fifth order of the day, honorable colleagues, a motion and need for implementation of the National Broadband Plan. Standing in the name of Honorable Sajos Oseogun, Honorable Ogun is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues. I'm Sajos Oseogun. I represent Eastern Southeast, Eastern Northeast, and I'm from Edo State. Need for implementation of the National Broadband Plan. The House notes that in 2012, the Federal Ministry of Communications Technology set up Presidential Committee on National Broadband Plan, whose report presented its 5-year broadband plan 2013 to 2018 to make broadband available to all Nigerians. The House also notes that the nation's submarine cable system is still hampered by gross underutilization resulting from the poor implementation of the National Broadband Plan, even after $1 billion investment. Aware of the investments of several billions of dollars by government and private operators, including the Nigeria Telecommunications Limited, now Entel. South Atlantic, 3, SAT3, fiber optic cable of over $600 million. MTN's West African Cable Systems, WACS, worth $650 million. ACE, cable by Dolphin Telecoms, worth $700 million. $300 million by Main One, and Globalcom's cable, also worth $800 million. The House observes that the capacity of those systems can trigger similar revolution witnessed in the mobile phone segment and can be replicated in e-governance, e-health, e-education, e-security, etc., etc. The House is informed that if the target of a 5-year fold increase in broadband penetration by 2017 proposed by the National Broadband Plan, the Information and Communications Technology ICT sector has the potential to contribute over 30% to the nation's gross domestic product, GDP, within 4 years. It has also informed that broadband penetration is an essential driver of economic growth, and according to the World Bank, 10% surge in broadband penetration in developing countries will result in corresponding increase of 1.4% in GDP. Cognizant of the urgent need for the country to diversify from oil resources to knowledge and ICT-driven economy to drive development, the House resolves to urge the federal government to timeously implement the National Broadband Plan 2013 to 2018, and 2, mandate the Committee on Communications to ensure implementation and report back within 8 weeks of further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, my highly esteemed colleagues, I so move.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My name is Abdurrahman Shaibu. I represent Mubi North, Mubi South, and Maiha Federal Constituency. I'm from Adamawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second this very important motion ably moved by my friend, Honorable Sajos. I so second.
Honorable Sajos, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm Sajos Ose Ogun. I represent Eastern Southeast, Eastern Northeast, and I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, this is a very harmless motion, and the chairman of the committee is on all fours with me on this. This is a simple projection by government to deepen internet penetration. And if the set time was from 2013 to 2018, I do not think we have achieved anything much. What basically this motion is speaking to is the need for us to deepen internet penetration. And with this, we can easily do e-government, like I mentioned in the body of the motion, e-security, e-commerce. And with your permission, Mr. Speaker, I will just read the stats I have here. With regards to other nations of the world, how they have generated jobs, and how they have increased the GDP of their country. Because we are talking about diversifying from oil, but it looks like we are just paying lip service to this. We cannot achieve this diversification through agriculture alone. Granted that we are making milestones there, we have achieved certain milestones there. Mr. Speaker, if I might just read, in the US, 15% increase in broadband penetration is associated with 4.2% increase in efficiency and productivity. Then let me not go too far. In Senegal, 10% point increase in mobile penetration resulted in GDP growth of 0.44%. And then again in the US, creation of 140,000 jobs per year over 10-year period, amounting to over 1.4 million jobs. Mr. Speaker, I say that we don't need the jobs in Nigeria today. I say that we don't need the increase in our GDP today. So with the increase in internet penetration, we can easily achieve this. So I really do not want to belabor this so that I give my colleagues opportunity to debate this. But I think, like yesterday, we need the executive to work with the legislators to achieve this milestone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my highly esteemed colleagues. I urge you to support this motion. Thank you.
Any contributor to the debate? Honorable Babajimi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Babajimi Benson. I represent the very good people of Ikorodu Federal Constituency, Lagos. Mr. Speaker, I must commend the mover of this motion. It is a very, very auspicious motion at this time. Internet is the bedrock of industrialization, and it is ludicrous to note that the federal government of Nigeria has not implemented its broadband policy. Nigeria is one of the biggest and fastest growing internet markets in Africa, and this is not supported by the federal government of Nigeria because they have not started implementing what they ought to be implementing. It's going to help in productivity, it's going to help in adding to our GDP, it's going to help in crashing the internet market base. Mr. Speaker, for your information, it's also noted that half of the Nigerian population, 92 million presently, are hooked up on the internet. Imagine what will happen if this broadband policy is implemented. The internet broadband will be spread all over the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, and it will mean greater jobs, greater opportunities for our teeming youth. So, my colleagues, I urge you all to support this motion and ensure that it passes with the speed of light. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Onao.
The Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Mohammed Ogoshi Onao. I represent Awe, Doma, and Kiana Federal Constituency from Nasarawa State, and Alagoma. I want to thank Honorable Sajos for this motion, and it couldn't have come at a better time than this. Great countries have arisen, created revenue for their citizens, created jobs for their citizens as a result of the growth of internet. The last speaker had just said the broadband policy of Nigeria is yet to be implemented. It is gratifying to note that UAE had targeted 2020, that by 2020 there will be no paper transaction in the whole of UAE. This is possible because of internet. Taiwan is the 4th largest foreign reserve holder today, thanks to the growth and use of internet. As such, if the broadband policy of Nigeria is implemented to its fullest, I'm sure we will be seeing young billionaires coming up almost on a daily basis because they can work from their homes, they can work from their offices, they can work on the go and create wealth for themselves. And so I rise to support this motion, heavily moved by Honorable Sajos, that that my honorable colleagues do support the motion so that at least the broadband policy of Nigeria be implemented as fast as possible. Thank you very much, sir.
Any more contribution? Okay, I'll put the question. There are no more. Okay, Honorable Shuaibu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues. My name is Abdurrahman Shoaib. I represent Movie North, Movie South, and my half federal constituency. I'm from Adamawa State. Since we have two committees, we have committee on telecommunication and we have committee on ICT, both of them. So we should include committee on ICT. I move that we should mandate committee on ICT and telecommunication to ensure implementation and report back within 8 weeks for further legislative action. I so move.
Honorable Shaka. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for granting me. Honorable members. Yeah. Ibrahim Ayokule Shaka is my name.
ICT is there.
I rise, Mr. Speaker, to support the motion as ably moved by Honorable Shuaib due to the importance attached to this very motion moved. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, I'll put a question on this. Those in favor of Honorable Shuaib's amendment, say aye. Those against it, say nay. Now I'll put a question again, even though I didn't even listen to the amendment. Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Only 3 people are saying nays. Only 3 members, and I know them. This is Fijabi, Bonvik, and Doe. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. This time around is Honorable Adachi. There's an announcement here. Honorable colleagues, I wish to inform honorable members that the following meetings have been scheduled for a delegation of parliamentarians from Niger Republic with select committees of the House of Representatives. The meetings will hold us at Committee Room 414, House of Representatives building as follows. First is the Committee on Foreign Relations. The meeting is Tuesday, 6 February 2018, 3 p.m. prompt. Committee on Finance, meeting is Tuesday, 6 February 2018, 5 p.m. Committee on Defense, Wednesday, 7th February 2017, 3 p.m. Committee on Interior, the meeting is Thursday, 8 February 2018 at 3 p.m. Chairman and members of this committee should please take note and ensure that they attend in view of the fact that we have a visiting delegation from the Parliament of the Republic of Niger. Thank you. Sixth order of the day is a motion calling on the federal government to conduct a survey of moribund industries with a view to creating a data bank towards salvaging, resuscitating the industries, standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Hussein Moriki. Honorable Moriki is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues. My name is Abubakar Husseini Moriki. I represent the people of Shinkafi and Zulmi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Zamfara State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the title of the motion is Call on the Federal Government to conduct a national survey on moribund industries. The House notes that from the early 1960s to late 1980s, the Nigerian economy was booming, due mainly to government industrialization policies such as the indigenization exercise and the import substitution policy, etc., which then encouraged the establishment of public and private industries, and as a result, a lot of Nigerians were gainfully employed
and their standard of living was relatively higher. Note that from the early 90s, a downward trend began to manifest as a result of combination of several factors that included economic downturn that was both global and national in nature, resulting in the closing down of many industries and the companies with its attendant economic consequences, such as the growing unemployment and social discontent, which was hitherto never experienced. Further note that the closure of the industries that had been employing hundreds, if not thousands, of people resulted in increased unemployment, especially graduates and the youth, thereby accentuating criminality, youth restiveness, reduction in the standard of living in the country, and the mounting pressure on the scarce foreign exchange due to a resort to importation of goods that were hitherto produced in the country locally. Observe that efforts made by successive administrations to address the situation through various policy initiatives, like the privatization of government-owned companies, grant of waivers and tax incentives to both local and foreign investors, have not yielded the desired results. Realize is that lack of industrialization of the Nigerian economy made the recent economic recession experienced by the country more acute, and therefore brought to the fore the dire need for diversification of the Nigerian economy by reviving the money-bound industries and focusing attention to the non-oil sector, which remains one of the surest ways to reposition the country on the path of sustainable growth and development. The House resolved to call on the federal government to carry out a national survey on money-bound industries or companies across the country with a view to creating a data bank on them, both publicly and privately owned, and the proper mechanism for resuscitating them. 2. Mandate the committees on industry and legislative compliance to liaise with the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment.
Silence, please. Oh, the honorable members, please.
And the report back in 6 weeks for further legislative action.
Honorable Jagaba.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable
Jagaba, please take your seat.
Honorable Murtala.
Thank you very much. Honorable Shikara, please go back to your seat.
My name is Honorable Ibrahim Murtala Damazali, a member representing Musawa Madrazo. I rise to support the motion moved by my honorable colleague, Honorable A.H. Moriki. Thank you.
Honorable Moriki, please lead the debate.
Honorable Damburam, please take your seat. Honorable Damburam, Kano Municipal, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable colleagues. I still remain Abubakar Hussaini Moriki, representing the people of Shekafi and Zurmi Federal Constituency. I am from Zamfara State. Mr. Speaker, this motion is a wake-up call.
Please.
It's a wake-up call in view of the growing number of money-bound companies or industries in Nigeria. Indeed, this cuts across all sectors of the economy. In agriculture, you have so many of them. In the automotive industry, you have so many of them. Even in the extractive industry, there are so many of these money-bound companies. Talk less of the petrochemical, tourism, textile, confectionery, and the general manufacturing sector. Everywhere you go, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, you will find these money-bound industries. They also cut across all regions. They cut across all states, and indeed, all local government areas, all the 774 local government areas of this federation. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, if we take a critical look of why companies or industries go money-bound, we'll find that some of the reasons why they go money-bound are not far-fetched. They include factors like government policy,
policy inconsistency, policy summary, policy negatively impacting on the other, initiating a policy which initially will give a positive result, but later on only to come with another policy which will negatively impact on the past one. Mr. Speaker, there is also the lack of infrastructure, which we all know. Some of these things, power, roads, and the rest of them are not available to facilitate proper industrialization of this country. That is also a reason which is very important also, competition. Some of the moribund companies went moribund because of acute and severe competition. They are to be blamed, but they pose a serious problem in the country. Market forces can also bring down some of these moribund companies. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the consequences of growing trend of moribund companies or industries in Nigeria are as follows. We'll find that there is a lot of unemployment, particularly the unemployment which is industry-based. There is also negative effect on the gross domestic product. Also, the shareholders' equity or investment, loss of shareholders' equity or investment is also there, because once companies or industries go moribund, you find that the shareholders' equity will be lost. It may also lead to inflationary trend due to decrease in domestic production, because if companies go moribund, then the additional production which they normally make will not be there. And therefore, in order to provide for those products, which are locally produced by such companies, importation has to be resorted to. And that will further exert a lot of pressure on the foreign reserve of the country due to this increase in import bills. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we review the current status of moribund companies. There is also no reliable data depicting their number, their nature, their location, and reasons why they went moribund. Similarly, the conditionalities for securing salvation through the existing development financial institutions cannot be met. Such institutions like BOI, these moribund companies cannot meet up with the conditionalities imposed by these development financial institutions like BOI, which any prospective loan seeker should fulfill. Mr. Speaker, this phenomenon suggests that there is necessity, absolute necessity, to scout for ways to deal with moribund companies on a sustainable basis in order to salvage or resuscitate existing ones and minimize the practice of handling them in the future. The approach, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, should be as follows. One, the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment should lead the crusade of dealing with moribund companies, being the coordinating Ministry of Industrialization and Investment in this country. There should be a national survey to be conducted by the Federal Ministry of Industry in order to determine the number of these companies or industries, their nature in terms of what do they deal in or category, the size of equity investment lost, and then the reasons why they went moribund, and whether or not they can be salvaged. Then with that one, we can be able to establish a data bank in relation to these moribund companies. It is only when we do that, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, that we can devise a salvation mechanism through but not limited to the following: evolving a sustainable national policy of moribund industries, which will be consequential to the survey to be conducted. Two, devise an immediate stimulus response to salvage existing ones, which may include but not limited to the following: a bailout approach through public sector interventions, or a reform of the existing TFIs to cater for moribund companies. Because at the going rate, the moment, the conditionalities they impose are very stringent, and the money-bound companies or industries that have already gone money-bound cannot meet up those conditionalities. Also, the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment should convene a national summit of money-bound industries, because through that summit, we'll be able to x-ray all the possibilities of why such companies went, on money-bound, and what can be done in order to salvage them on a permanent and sustainable basis, which will ultimately lead us to evolving a permanent and sustainable policy to deal with money-bound companies. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, with a sustainable policy on money-bound industries and a stimulus response to deal with the existing ones, the nation stands to provide a protection to companies and guide them against going money-bound in future. And it can also cause the existing money-bound companies to return back to production. It can also reduce industry-based unemployment. Mr. Speaker, we can also minimize the social vices arising from this type of unemployment. This is the vision of this motion, Mr. Speaker. I therefore crave the indulgence of this honorable House to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, thank you. I so move.
Honorable Adekola.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and my distinguished colleagues. My name is Honorable Shegun Alexander Adekola, member representing Ekiti South Federal Constituency 1 of Ekiti State. I write to support this motion, and I thank the mover of the motion that has done a good job, Honorable Morike. The motion is apt. We all recall that in those good old days, when Nigeria was booming, it was as a result of industrialization of Nigeria. You will recall that as a graduate, before you even finish your school, job is already waiting for you. But gone are the days. Nowadays, we are churning out thousands of graduates with no jobs, with nowhere to work, as a result of our companies gone into comatose. Most companies are now moribund. So this motion could not have come at a very good time, because already Nigeria is sitting on the gunpowder because of the rate of unemployment that is astronomical in the land. Our youths are roaming around the streets. Our graduates are not employed, and that's why we have an unabated rate of crimes in the country. That's why we have a lot of unabated rate of militancy, harassers, prostitution, and so many other menaces ravaging our land. And this is as a result of government policy, some accepted policy. The government policy in most cases does not support growth of any industry, because Nigeria now, we can say Nigeria now is an import-based economy, and most local industries, most import industries cannot compete competitively with foreign goods. And apart from that, lack of infrastructure, as my honorable colleagues have said, plenty supply of power, diesel, purchase of diesel daily. There is no company that can grow in Nigeria unless our government review their policy to favor indigenous company. Mr. Speaker, sir, you will recall that in those days, we have a lot of textile industries all over Nigeria, like in my state, Ekiti State. We have a textile industry that used to employ more than 3,000 of our citizens. But nowadays, if you go to a textile industry, it has been turned to supermarket. The same thing can do in textiles. So it is high time our government look somewhere, look inward to see how to resuscitate all these dead companies, so that our youth, Nigerian youth, can be gainfully employed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want every member to support this motion, and that motion should be passed in the speed of light. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Olorunda Oludo Osogbo Federal Constituency. I'm from the state of Osun. First, this motion is important, is desirable, and it's a motion that all of us should pay attention to. And I salute the courage of the mover of the motion, and I know it is arising from the fact, partly because the mover of the motion is the chairman of the House Committee on Industry. And I want to again say that I like moments like this when we are reminded of where we are coming from, and where we're supposed to be in the near future. But Mr. Speaker, I've read the motion and I've listened to the contributors, but my fear is what the motion is asking us to do is not what is going to solve the problem itself. Because when you talk about modern day technology or industry or manufacturing, the basis of all those things can be found in science and technology. And so my first leg of the contribution is that we find ourselves in a situation where we have found ourselves today because of the fact that we have completely neglected, or maybe because we don't know how to do it, or maybe because we don't know that it's going to be useful to the establishment of industry, factory and manufacturing sector. Science and technology is the basis of development. So even if you take the data many times over of industries that are moribund, or factories that are no longer working, or manufacturers and manufacturing sector that have laid workers off, you cannot solve the problem. The first thing we must do is to pay attention to our sciences and technologies. And when I say science and technology, I know what people will begin to think about. People will direct their mind to institutions, former institutions like the colleges of education, the polytechnics and the universities. People think these are the only places where you can have what we call science and technology. All of us from different parts of the country in our respective localities have been inundated with some form of technologies that people have practiced in our different localities. We have, in those days, we have the goldsmith practices that we have everywhere. We have the blacksmith. We have people who do little things that can hide. So, Mr. Speaker, I want the House to know this, that one of the best definitions of development that has attracted my attention in the last 2 decades is that development is defined as a situation where you do long-term investments backed up by scientific innovation. So no amount of tons and loads of money that you have, if it's invested and it is not backed up by science and technology, it goes to no issue. We talk about developed world today, not because they have money, but because they keep on improving on their sciences and technologies, and they keep on having innovations and researches. And that is why they are. Even you have researches that they have conducted that they don't even need the product in the next 50 years. Yet, it is with them now. So when you are in a country like Nigeria, you begin to wonder, how do we get started at all? Or how do we want to start? It is not that these industries cannot function all over again. They can. But where are our scientists? Where are our technologists? What kind of skill do we have as at now? I keep saying it whenever I find myself in a situation where I have to contribute to the development of Nigeria. Our skill acquisition is at 0 level. And today, because I'm a practitioner in that field as an engineer, I know that if you want to do anything meaningful in science and technology today, you have to import people into Nigeria. And so when people talk about it's because of power failure, it's because of poor infrastructure, it is not because those are the consequences of science and technology. If you don't have power, it is not that power is somewhere for us to just speak and give to the public. It is because we lack the science of it. That's why we have not been able to provide our people with power. If you talk about infrastructure, it is not that infrastructure is somewhere for you to pick. It is because we lack the technology and the skill to provide the infrastructure. So don't let us continue to grope in the dark. The way to go in Nigeria is to go back and begin to pay detailed attention to our science and technology. And for Nigerians to know, for us to develop our economy, we have to begin to invest in on long-term basis. What everybody wants today is an investment that you will do in the morning and begin to make profit in the afternoon. And that is not how it is. From technology to farming to service sector, there are investments that will take a minimum of 5 to 10 years before you begin to reap them. And so, I commend the effort of the mover of the motion. But the basis of development, the basis of employment, the basis of every good things of life that we want for ourselves can only be found in the level of the scientific development, the level of technological development, the level of the skill that we have, and the kind of human beings that are ready to sacrifice that today for tomorrow for others. Because if you cannot sacrifice today, there's not going to be any tomorrow anywhere. And so I will leave honorable colleagues with this particular quotation, like I said, and I keep repeating it, that development is only found when people are interested in long-term investments backed up by scientific innovation. America is not what it is today because of money. It's because of their sciences. Germany is not what it is today because of money. It's because of their sciences and technologies. China is where it is today because of science and technology. India is where it is today because of science and technology. So if Nigeria wants to be where these countries are now or in future, then we must begin to talk about science and technology. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, honorable colleagues, for listening to me, and let us know that that is the only way to go. Development is not about money alone. It's about some other.
The mover of this motion, I believe it's a very important motion, and I strongly support the contributions of the Deputy Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we all know, industrialization is the backbone of any economy, and it's also a major factor for economic growth. But, Mr. Speaker, we must look at the reasons, the factors that cause the collapse of these industries in the first place. And every time I look at this, Mr. Speaker, one major thing keeps on coming up, and that is power, the lack of power. Now, Mr. Speaker, without power, there is no way any country can industrialize. No matter how good the policies are, Mr. Speaker, no matter what technology we have on the ground, as long as you do not have power, then there is no way you can industrialize. Infrastructure is the second one. But I believe that, Mr. Speaker, if we really want to revive these industries, then we must have a state of emergency in the power sector. Mr. Speaker, that is the first step to industrialize. No matter how much funding is put in that sector, as long as the power sector is not working well, then I don't see how we can move ahead. Mr. Speaker, I believe this is, like I said, an important motion, and I urge this Honorable House to support this motion. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Kola Wale Babatunde, member representing Akoko, Southeast Southwest Federal Constituency. I am from Ondo State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the mover of this very motion. And the motion, as we all know, if properly followed to the latter, is capable of reducing unemployment and also capable of boosting our economy as a country. But I want to also appreciate him for drawing the attention of this Honorable House to the policy direction of government as it affects privatization of those moribund industries. As we speak, we begin to ask ourselves who is at fault here. Those companies that have been privatized, as we speak, both the government and the buyers are yet to keep to their share purchase agreement, which is very, very important here. On the part of the government, they are yet to create accessible routes for most of these privatized companies, while the buyers are yet to turn in what the fund they are supposed to turn in as the buyers of these industries. So we begin to ask ourselves, who is at the receiving end here? And those at the receiving end are the masses, because they will suffer whatever comes out of these industries we are talking about. And does not really affect the federal government alone. It also goes down to the state government, because we have a lot of industries in my state as we speak, like the Oluwa glass industries, and are just there. If most of these companies are resuscitated, they are capable of creating a lot of employment. They are capable of changing our economy for good. So I want to congratulate, I want to really appreciate the mover of this very motion. It's coming at a time when this country is facing problem of unemployment, when this problem is facing, the country is facing economic problem. And I want to support members to support this motion and ensure that it sees the light of the day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sunday Karimi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues, my name is Karimi Sunday. I'm from Kogi State. I represent the Yamba Federal Constituency. Speaker, my colleague, I want to thank my able chairman, the chairman of industry, for bringing up this issue for discussion. If you look at the problems of our industries today, be it the textile industry, the iron and steel industry, all small and medium scale industries that are not running in this country today. The problems, it's not as if we don't know the problems. Nigerians, it's very easy for us to collect data. But what do we use this data for? That is the problem. If you look at the iron and steel industry, the Ajaokuta steel industry, since 1999, Obasanjo's government, there has been policy upon policy about bringing back Ajaokuta steel industry. Even when President Buhari came in, he spoke about refarming this industry. But today, nothing much has been achieved. It's been the same promises upon promises. Before our industry can come back to life, there must be a deliberate government policy that should be followed up to the letter. Like, when we collect this data, what are we going to use those data? What are we going to use the data for? Without enabling environment and policy from government, those industries will remain moribund. And we cannot move forward as a nation without bringing back our industries. And even the parliament will need to play a role. A time will come when we will enact laws that will stop us from wearing anything that is foreign. Be it your suit, my suit, those barbarigas and all that. A time will come that we need to enact a law that, look, we have to protect our local industries. Look at what Trump is doing in the US today. Yes, we can say Trump most times is maybe he's doing it too much. But he's saying that, look, America first. All the things that we are using today, our clothing, be it these household items, they are all from China. When are we going to make laws to protect the local industry so that we are going to be contented with what we are producing here? I think that is the most important policy direction that we got to look into. And either we like it or not, until we are able to bring back our textile industries. Those days, textile industry used to be employing millions of people all over Nigeria, but they are not working now. Even the fund that was provided by the last government in billions to reform the textile industry, where is that? What was it used for? So when we make policy and we just make policy for the fun of it, it's not followed up to the letter, then nothing will be realized. We need to ensure that government, even the parliament, we face the same direction about reforming our industries, so that all our youths that are roaming all over the place without employment, something will be done about it quickly. Without our industry coming back, where are they going to get jobs? So I thank the chairman for bringing this issue for discussion, but we have to go beyond just obtaining data. What are we going to use this data for? Thank you.
Honorable Murakpo.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable members, my name is Onyemaechi Murakpo. I represent Anyocha, Oshimiri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the mover of this motion. You wouldn't have come at a better time. And Mr. Speaker, one will be wondering why at this stage of our life, at the stage Nigeria is today, at the stage and the state of our economy today, that nothing like this had come up from the executive arm. So I want to thank the mover of this motion for trying to wake up the executive arm to what is supposed to have been before now. Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt that there is no nation that can grow its economy from importation, importing virtually everything, and that's what we do in Nigeria today. It's saddening that a country like Nigeria can continually import substandard granite, for example, from China. Granite, beautiful stones and everything is what you think, part of what God has endowed us with. Go to our major building markets here. You find granite tiles that as feeble as a woman's hand can be, you can break into two. Why? Because the industries that are supposed to be producing granite that we have enough quantity for, they have all gone dead. There is no industrialization where you do not have a government that is willing and concerned about industrialization. When Obama came in, there was a deliberate effort through provision of grants for the American industries. Unlike what we have in Nigeria, apart from the Chairman House Committee on Industry bringing up this, maybe some members have, but I haven't heard anything in this direction from the executive. No probing, no investigative issues, talks, policy
analysis as to how we got to where we are today. How did we get here? When some of us were growing up, those of us that were not from very wealthy homes, we had to work in some companies before we continued with our university education. Where are the companies today? Every day the graduates are coming up. There are no industries. They are all dependent on the federal government and the state government. And what do they do in the states? To carry file. We get telephone calls. We get text messages. I'm looking for a job. Everybody now is looking at the state, either the state government or the federal government for the children to be employed in one ministry or the other. Where are the industries? We have materials. We have raw materials. We have the human capital. Then what then is the problem? I think the basic problem is lack of concern, absolute lack of concern from the government to do something about the manufacturing industry. Where are the kiwis? Where is Dunlop? Those are places that even people who didn't go to, pardon my language, yes, who probably stopped out secondary school or primary school, they were factory workers in those places. I remember then when you take through the street of Ikeja, about lunchtime, you see both the learned and the educated and the educated. People had food to eat. They had food on their tables because they were properly engaged. They were working in one factory or the other. Factories making relaxers for hair. Factories making cream, toothpaste. Where are they today? Everything comes from China or one country or the other. Even those that are killer products to the country. I want to disagree with the issue of going straight to ban importation. You cannot ban what you don't have. If you ban importation where you do not have the means of meeting up with the needs of your country, then you have not solved the problem. I think the government should start with one, like you said, data collection is important. The companies that have gone down, how many are they? Are they more in the textile? Are they in pharmaceutical? Why did they go down? What is it that had happened? There must be a deliberate concern from the government of the day. And if you take that, if it is power, then you could begin to address the issue of power. If it is assessing foreign exchange, then you begin to address the issue of foreign exchange. But as we speak, the country does not know why the industries are folding up and why they have all completed 90%. They've gone down. So the government should start by knowing what is the problem. Why are they, for me, I think what we're just trying to do here is probably trying to provide answers to what has not really been taken care of. The government should find out why are the industries, that's if they see it as a concern that the industries are not working. But the way I see the government, not just the government of the day, government as it is, Nigerian government, is like we're more concerned with what we import. Look at the amount of money that goes into generating sex. If we are concerned for the going to work in a matter of months, we are coming to the close of this step and nothing has been done. More products, more designs of generating sex are coming into Nigeria because it's like there is no hope for the power industry. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to wholeheartedly support this motion and to say that I believe that if the government decides to be concerned about the issue of manufacturing, industrialization, reawakening and reviving our economy through manufacturing, Nigeria will be a better place for it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kazim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Kazim. I represent Abeokuta North, Obafemi Owode, and Odeda from Ogun State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, first of all, I commend the mover of this motion, a very important motion that has been moved at the right time. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, salvaging the marine industry and the allied industry as well like the textile industry, automobile industry, steel industry, will help boost the economy of the nation. Also, it will boost the economy of the state where this industry and the companies are domiciled. And at the end of the day, it will increase the IGR of the nation as a whole. Eventually, this will also increase the GDP of the nation. Also at this time where there's shortage of foreign exchange. If local industry are promoted, it will reduce the demand for foreign exchange. And eventually, we will be able to export the produce of this industry, and which will make us a foreign exchange earner, and will turn us from being a consuming economy, and it will motivate us to be a more producing economy. And the multiplier effect of that, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, is the active industry will also benefit from this, because they will be more active. For example, look at the Nigerian Railway Corporation that has done semi-marathon, should we say. In those days, when Pojo was on, working 100%, Nigerian Railway Corporation was moving their CKD from the port and moving it to the Kaduna, where they were being assembled. I'm also moving the FBU, the fully built unit, back from Kaduna down to the south. Mr. Speaker, this is a very good motion that needs support of all the members of this assembly to please support this motion. It's the motion that will help the economy. It's the motion that if it takes place, it will create employment. So a lot of youth, not just a lot of youth will be able to put food on their table. Mr. Speaker, this is my contribution. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, Engineer Solomon Mared is my name, and I represent the very good people of Mangu Bokos Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the home of peace and tourism, Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, I rise while adopting the contribution of my colleagues to say that this motion is very timely, up, and the thing that the Parliament and indeed the government of Nigeria must look at with immediate alacrity. Mr. Speaker, we are aware that government is working in the agricultural sector in order to revive the economy of our country. But indeed, we must also create the industrial value chain of the agricultural products that we produce from our farms. Otherwise, we will produce so much yam that we may not be able to consume, and we may not be able to transform it into a form that we can keep, for future use and of course for export. And I think the only best thing to do is that government must first of all look at the industries that were owned by government itself, and that those industries today are no more. We have several of them. The steel industry is one of them that has been run by the government in more than 30 years up to now. We cannot have any meaningful production that is taking place from those industries. We also have textile industries that were hitherto managed or owned by government, either state or the federal government, but today they are no more. And I think these are some of the surveys that we need to carry out. These are some of the surveys that we need to undertake in order to ensure that the things that are causing the closure of our industries do not continue to reoccur in our country when we are talking about high level of unemployment in our society. And I think we need also to look at the relocation of industries from our country due to harsh economic policies of government that has led to the relocation of industries from our country to neighboring countries, because they discover that they have cheap labor and they also have sustainable policies that will bring about their expansion as a manufacturing agency. And that if, as a manufacturing agency,
their aim is to make profit. And so if the conducive environment is not there for them to make those profits, definitely they will look for ways out. And I think this motion is very apt and very timely, that the parliament and indeed the government of Nigeria look into this matter, because we cannot be talking about employment. You're talking about industries that are closing up, and then you're talking about industries that are relocating from our own country to neighboring countries. And I think this is very timely and apt, that it will bring about the resurgence of our manufacturing industries and indeed the growth of the industrial sector in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ben.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Ben Wangwo. I represent Orumba North, Orumba South Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak on this motion because this is one motion too many. This is a motion that I'm sure that many Nigerians have been waiting for this House as a representative institution to discuss. This is a motion that will resolve one of the key paradoxes of Nigeria of 200 million people approximately. And think of where 30 million people only consume 30 million toothpicks daily, and they have to be imported. We are doing a lot of damages to our country without knowing it. Nigeria is a country of 200 million people. Approximately 60 million people consume rice daily. What do we do? 60% of the rice we consume come from outside. Mr. Speaker, there is an issue that gravitates from this motion, which is there are deficits in our national planning, where there is pure absence of national statistical system that is impeccable. And this statistical system is not also imputed in national planning. This is one motion that will correct the defects in national planning processes. Mr. Speaker, as a student of planning, there is what we call comprehensive rational planning. This is one motion that will bring us back to comprehensive rational planning in national development. If you are talking about, or if we are giving seriousness, political will in creating employment, this is a motion that will do that. I'm happy it's coming at this point in time in our national history. But my problem is, to what extent can we go? To what extent are we going to make use of the data that is going to come out of it? I feel, Mr. Speaker, there is even investigative aspect of the motion, which I will crave the indulgence of the mover of the motion to work on later on. We need to know, as an Anambra person, I know there are hundreds of industries in Nnewi, hundreds of industries in Okpoko, hundreds of industries in Onitsha, hundreds of industry in other parts of Anambra State. When you get to Aba, half of Aba are industries, and they are all dead. How do you create national wealth? How do you create employment? Youth unemployment has risen to almost 65%, and we are not saying anything. This motion should be taken very seriously. The outcome of it, the country will await for it, and to what extent do we make use of the outcome determines how serious we are in reviving our economy. Mr. Speaker, I will rest my case by saying that Shakespeare was right when he said that there is pride in the affairs of men. Men are sometimes masters of their fate. We ought to take our destiny in our hand, and one of the ways to do it is by taking this motion to the extreme and making sure that there are outcomes out of it. When to do it, Mr. Speaker, is now. Who to do it is me and you. Thank you. I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Honorable Adeogo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Albert Abiodun Adeogo, representing the good people of Ife Central, East, South and North of Ife Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the source, Osun State. Mr. Speaker, like others have done, I want to commend the efforts of the mover of this motion. Having said that, I also want to align myself with some of the views that were expressed by my colleagues. There was a question one of my colleagues raised that what is responsible for the collapse of these industries? In other climes, manufacturing sector drives the economy. But that is reverse in our economy. There are millions of problems confronting this sector. One of the main issues is the policy of government. There is no stability in government policy. You have policies of government that are varied periodically, which frustrate the plannings of this sector. No manufacturing company can survive on taking interest or paying interest rate of 21% on loan. Most countries that have achieved success in this sector have between 0 and 9% as interest rate for loans to this sector. But that is the reverse in Nigeria. Beyond that, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, our infrastructure, which is to collaborate with this manufacturing sector, have collapsed. Let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, if you import raw materials through Lagos, a container that is released after many weeks may not go out of the port for another 4 weeks. They accumulate a lot of demurrage and therefore compound the overhead of doing business in Nigeria. One fundamental thing that most of these industries left our environment can be pillared on the fact that we don't have energy. It is difficult for industries to run their generators using diesel and to be able to break even. We must remember that there is competition globally. Whatever you produce within your environment has to compete with the same thing in other environments. The influx of goods from foreign countries, particularly in China, as you mentioned, is because when you compare the cost of manufacturing in our sector, at times it's double the one that is smuggled to this country. And there's no way you can persuade a consumer of not buying something that is cheaper. There's the need, therefore, for the government to invest, not by supporting, and must be strictly looked into by the government. There must be good roads. Every industry is a government on its own. A factory provides electricity, a factory provides water, provides everything that is required. No business can survive on that environment. And that is why it is so convenient for people to bring wares from China, Far East and all that, which are relatively cheap to what is available in Nigeria. Once more, I want to commend the efforts of the mover, and I want to urge members of this honorable house to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity.
Honorable Ogene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak on this very important motion. My name is Honorable Ogene Ego, and I represent the very good people of Abu of the Federal Constituency in Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I come from a constituency where we have a lot of unemployed graduates. So many young men have finished university, some of them polytechnics, some of them have learned jobs, various trades, and yet they cannot get any job to do. When you come from a constituency such as mine, you cannot be but be very happy with a motion like this. This is why I'm trying to be the mover of this motion. Mr. Speaker, in the 70s and much of the 80s, before you finish school, employers come to university to recruit people. There were jobs everywhere, springing up everywhere. And then suddenly, digitalization policy came. And with this digitalization policy, some foreigners who had companies in Nigeria, they were dispossessed of half of the company. Some were made not to invest in properties and a host of other areas. And what happened? There was a big exodus. A lot of people had to leave the country. After that, the military that came in did not make matters better. They discouraged industries with the result that they will give lower duty for somebody who is importing to sell in Nigeria than somebody who is manufacturing in Nigeria. And of course, when the manufacturers saw that it was cheaper to import than manufacture, they had no option but to close down. And it was during the same period of the military that electricity became a problem. As industries grew, as more people got more interested, had more resources to buy electronic equipment, to use electricity, you find out that government was not servicing the old electricity equipment that were on ground. So electricity generation reduced. And then as population increased, as demand for electricity went up, government was not interested at all. And what we have today, Nigeria, as big as 180 million people, we are competing with Ghana that has less than 30 million people in terms of volume of electricity produced and distributed. It's a terrible shame. This is where we are. Many things have contributed towards the destruction of our industries. For instance, there were a lot of automobile plants in the 70s and the 80s. And when the military government wanted to import over 2,000 vehicles, rather than give it to Adamco, give it to these people in the Ibadan, what do you call them, the plants in the Ibadan, the one in Kano, to produce for the Nigerian Army and Police, they prefer to go to India to import. As a result of lack of patronage, the industries in Nigeria had to close up. There was a time, about 1962, we were at par with South Korea, even Taiwan, in terms of manufacturing. But look at where they are today, and look at where we are today. It's a very sad phenomenon. I want to look at this motion as one of the best motions that have been moved in this house. And I want to urge that it should not be treated just as a legislative affair. When this motion passes, as I believe that it will pass, let us have public hearing. Let us collaborate with the executive arm of government, Ministry of Industry. Let's come together. Let's find a solution. What went wrong? Why have we become so backward today? How come all our industry is closing up? How come we keep turning our graduates, and our graduates would prefer to go to Libya to become slaves? It's very sad. It's a failure of government, and it's unfortunate we are part of government. But more particularly the executive arm of government that are supposed to be responsible for this. They've not paid any serious attention to employment. So I want to urge this out to support this motion so that a proper committee be set up, to handle this issue and get the executive to be in it so that we can create a future that will be good for our children. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I think this marks the end of the debate. We have two amendments. One is from Honorable Diri Doe.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My esteemed colleagues, my name is Diri Doye, representing Yenagoa Kolokuma Opokuma Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State. My amendment is an addition of prayer number 3. And prayer number 3 reads thus: that to urge the federal government to collaborate and support the universities and research institutes in the country to enhance industrial and technological growth.
Seconder, Honorable Zakaria.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Zakaria Ugaladima, member representing people of Bereja Kusko. I am from Yobe State. I stand to second the amendment as proposed by Honorable Diri. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. The second amendment is from Honorable Zakaria Galadima.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Murtala.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleague, I remain Honorable Ibrahim Mursal Damazali, a member representing Musa Matazu Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. I rise to suspend the motion by my honorable colleague. Thank you. I rise to suspend the amendment.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Announcements. Honorable colleague, meeting of delegation of Niger parliamentarians on the study tour in Nigeria. So advise that you disregard the earlier announcement I made in regards to scheduling of committees that will meet with the delegation from Niger. It's been decided that they will hold one-off meeting with all the relevant committees, and we'll repeat this announcement tomorrow morning. So the delegation, the proper position is the delegation of Niger parliamentarians on the study tour in Nigeria will now meet jointly with the following committees: Foreign Relations, Defense, Finance, and Interior, as scheduled below. Wednesday, 7th February 2018, 3 p.m. The venue of the meeting is Conference Room 232, House of Representatives Building, National Assembly Complex, Abuja. So please, Chairman and members of those relevant committees should please take note. Also, this is an announcement from the Chairman of Appropriation to Chairman of Standing Committees and Subcommittees of the House. 2018 Appropriation Bill. The guidelines for processing of the 2018 Appropriations Bill have been distributed to all chairmen of standing committees as subcommittees of the Appropriation Committee. Deadline for the submission of all reports is 15th February 2018. Kindly note that where committees fail to submit their reports after the above date, the Appropriations Committee will decide and proceed to write their budget. Thank you. Announcer Honorable Mustafa Baladawaki. So clerk will repeat this announcement tomorrow morning. 2018 Zonal Intervention Projects, ZIP. All honorable members should please send to collect forms for their Zonal Intervention Projects, ZIP, form from the Appropriations Committee Secretariat in room 16, first floor, White House. The completed forms should please be submitted to to the Appropriations Committee not later than 13th February 2018. Announcer, Honorable Mustafa Baladaraki, Chairman, Committee on Appropriations. Clerk, these two will repeat them tomorrow in the morning, the announcement. Consideration of reports. Seventh order of the day is resumption of consideration report of Committee on Police Affairs on the bill for an act to establish the Nigeria Police Trust Fund and for related matters 2017. Honorable members will recall that on Tuesday, 30th January 2018, the House and the Committee of the Whole deferred clauses 4, 18 and 19 of the bill. Honorable Ali Rudauda Jika will move for resumption of consideration of the bill. But before this item is taken, Chair Appropriation, Chair Rules Without Business. I thought okay, DS has corrected me, sorry, it was a slip of the tongue. Rules and business. There was a bill we read in the morning from the President declined assent to. I thought it's the Nigeria Police Trust Fund. In what way is this one different from that? Do we have the letter? Yes.
The one you read this morning is police procurement matter. This one is trust fund. The other one is police procurement. Please look at your record. It should be police procurement.
Okay, Deputy Chair, do you have relevant information on the subject matter?
Mr. Speaker, we are not to have information. I don't even know when it was passed because I can't recall our committee handling that procurement.
Okay, in any case, it's been declined. So, except we have the two-thirds to pass it into law, it appears that we've come to the dead end with regards to that one. This one, I thought maybe it was, I saw fund somewhere there, so I thought it's the same thing with this. But if it's procurement fund, and this one is trust fund.
Mr. Pierre, while you read it in the morning, I was wondering to where we passed it because I'm aware of this, and I know this one was stepped down, or a particular clause of this one was stepped down because of so the one you passed in the morning, one of the reasons given was we are not in a position to procure things for 36 states of the Federation. It was one of the reasons, right? So that one is procurement, and this one is trust fund. And I had the chairman of police affairs, and I discussed with him, and he said definitely this one is quite different from the one. And he was not even aware of this one, and I'm not aware of this one too. It's likely to be a bill that came from the Senate. That particular one you read in the morning.
Okay, even if it came from the Senate, it must have passed on the floor of this House. Otherwise, there's no way it can move up to that level. So let's proceed, having established that they are materially different. Deputy Chair, Police Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Emmanuel Nyong'o. I represent Kasinala Uku, Logo Federal Constituency from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I do move that the House is on a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Police Trust Fund and for related matters. 2017 HB 894 and approve the recommendations there. Also.
Seconder, Honorable Zakaria.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I, Zakaria Ugaladima, represent people of Bereja Cusco. I do second the motion as ably moved by my honorable colleague. I do second.
Those Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Eighth order of the day is consideration report of the ad hoc committee to investigate the health implications of mounting telecommunication masts close to buildings. Honorable members who recall the report was laid on Wednesday, 8 November 2017. Honorable Iboro Ikana will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my honorable colleagues. My name is Iboro Ikana, aka IBB. I represent the good people of Ikono in the federal constituency, and I'm from Akwa Ibom State, the state of uncommon transformation. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I do move that the House will consider the report of the ad hoc committee to investigate the health implications of mounting telecommunications masts close to buildings and approve the recommendations therein. And it was laid on the 8th of November 2017. I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Flatter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Bakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Perniwa Klika Sama, Kuli Federal Constituency from Jigawa Services. I rise to second the motion aptly moved by Honorable IBB. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Leader.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I remain Mohamed Tari Mogono. I represent Martin Mogono, the Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that the House do resolve to a committee of the whole to consider reports.
Rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jail. I represent the good people of Buruku, Madia Police, and from Borno State. Mr. Speaker, I wish to be protected from the DS. When you put the correct name, I'm chairman of Rules Without Business. He knows it. He knows it very well. But I stand to second the motion accepted moved by the leader of the acting leader of the House.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. House hereby resolve into committee of the whole to consider reports.
Honorable colleagues, the first report to be considered is that of the House Committee on Police Affairs. If you recall, we stood down under the consideration of clause 4 of that bill for it to be properly looked at, and I think that is what the committee has come back with. So that report, I now ask the Deputy Chair of the House Committee on Police Affairs to tell us what you have done so that we can get done with the bill.
The consideration of the report was stepped down to allow us, the committee, to take a critical look at the provisions of Section 4, Section 18 and 19. We have looked at it. Members were particularly of the view that it should be specific. So we look at it and make a comparison with the Senate, and we have come up with specific in Section 4 that the provision in Section 19.3
1904. Is it retained or deleted? Nothing is written in front. And so you didn't write retained there. So, honorable colleagues, we asked some members of the floor on the floor that day to look into clause 4, 18, and 19, and this is what they have come up with. So we go ahead. So clause 4 now passed. Clause 18 passed. Clause 19 has reported passed. Long title of the bill. The next report to be considered, I have a meeting somewhere.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to also take a cue from the letter that Mr. Speaker wrote, read out to us on why some of the bills were returned. So that we can, if it affects this too, so we can correct it before we now send it does affect.
Okay.
I read the letter, I read the explanation. No, just the federation, it's actually your argument that I'm bringing.
It's relying on your argument.
Relying on your argument, sir. If you allow me. No, as it relates to this, the addition we just made. Oh.
So, Chairman, Deputy, did you read the earlier bill?
I have not read, but section 80, subsection 2 of the Constitution allows us to make laws for the expenditure of the money contained in the federation account.
Chairman, I mean, why the earlier bill was returned was because of the word procurement, and it was stated in the letter that the National Assembly will not be in a position to appropriate for the 36 states of the state. That's the way they stated it. You find a similar thing in the present bill? Okay, now tell us.
Chairman, I'm referring to the addition of federation account. National Assembly, do we have the powers to take money that belongs to the state and put into this account? Or the money that belongs to the federal government that we can put into this account?
That's your argument.
The added subsection 418, an amount constituting half percentage of the total revenue accruing to the federation account, not to the consolidated, not to the revenue that belongs to the federal government, federation account, every money coming to the federation. Do we have the right to take money that belongs to the state and put it into this fund?
Thank you very much for the question. From my own vintage point, the way I will answer that question is, the other time when we had a motion on what that I can't remember, that even as it is today, the word federation and consolidated is interchangeably used in the Constitution. So that you cannot even tell when they are referring to consolidated account of the federal government or federation account of the federation. So what you are raising now goes to no issue when you consider that even the Constitution itself is not clear, and I know lawyers that are here who have read Constitution extensively know that it's a major problem with our Constitution. They say federation account in one breath, in another breath they say consolidated account, and you don't even know which one they are. So your question would have been appropriate if the Constitution itself is clear So one of the few things we must do, and I remember Leo bringing up a motion or a bill in that regard. I don't know why it is not considered that as at today. It is confusing when you read the constitution, which one is the federation, which one is the consolidated. The consolidated is what the National Assembly has rights to appropriate on. The federation is the one that belongs to everybody. And that was why enough attention was not paid to the contribution of partaking. When he said, okay, if you are saying you are giving 1 billion naira to Boko Haram affected area, what you just need to do is to now say, okay, 13%, we add it to 1 billion, 1%, you beg and this and this and this. So it's not a material thing that we have to begin to separate now from the act. Let's keep it at that. Over time, when we are able to sort out the constitution itself, this one can, follow. But in the morning, the one that was returned from the president had the word police procurement fund, and we cannot be procuring for the states or the federation. The next report to be considered is that of the ad hoc committee to investigate the health implications of the mounting of telecommunication masts close to buildings. And I invite the chairman of that committee briefly to just tell us what they have done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I remain Ibora Ekane, representing the good people of economy, federal constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Chairman, briefly, this ad hoc committee to investigate the health implications of the mounting of telecommunications masts close to building HR 11/2017 was set up on 17th January 2017. The membership were up to 15 members, and we had the method of investigation included meetings of the ad hoc committee, placement of adverts on daily newspaper, the Punch newspaper, and 2 days investigative hearing, public hearing, and then we set out to oversight on some selected states across the country. The stakeholders invited were all the stakeholders in the telecommunications industry, up to 34 number as recorded on page 5 of the report. Briefly, we had submissions from the Nigerian Society of Engineers on page 7 and page 8, which confirmed that the electromagnetic field interferes with sensitive medical equipment if they are installed close to hospitals, therefore giving malfunctioning of such equipment and wrong diagnosis and also wrong treatment that affects our health. Also, on page 9, the Nigerian Medical Association established that there is a link to some health hazards such as fatigue, headache, decreased concentration, cancer, especially brain tumor and leukemia, sperm motility, tumor induction, dizziness, viral and other infections. We also had a memorandum from NESRA, National Environmental Standard and Regulations Enforcement Agency, on page 11, which indicates that there is a strong exposure of blood pressure because of sleeplessness and also deteriorating well-being. The oil waste can also contaminate underground water. Just and finally, okay, yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I was telling you what we did We went to all the states and we carried the stakeholders. NEMSA came with all the equipment to test the high resistance of some masks. The NESRA measured the equipment, NCC measured the radiation. Mr. Chairman, at the end of it, we discovered that some did not meet the standards and we came out with all the recommendations stated here. Mr. Chairman, in conclusion, we have said that. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And we came out with all the. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman of Rules. Okay, let me talk. This is the dictatorship of the government. Okay, so the point I wanted to raise is of a general note about this on the report. I remember very well when this argument, when the motion came on the floor of the House, the crux of the matter was whether siting the mast near residential apartment or near building poses a health threat directly from the radiation that is supposed to come out from this mast. Now, I have gone through the whole of this report. I have gone through, even though it came in late, but I tried to go through it because I had already gone through the other paper, the one that is couched on the other paper. And I was expecting to find on the findings stroke observation, whether any question addresses that pointedly, whether the radiation poses danger to health. And I failed to find that, so we are back to square one, because during the debate, the argument was that, okay, let's give it to the committee during the hearing. They would have invited experts who would throw more light and come to a decision whether if you have a mast near the home or near a resident or near a building, it will pose danger to health. All we are getting here, cost the way the recommendations are couched, is the second committee, second MDS should publicize the dangers of posing the mask near residential. That has not, the point I'm trying to make is that has not been, yes.
If you go to the main report, you are looking at the recommendation in the other paper and you are correct. But the main report, on page 7 of the main report, the last paragraph on that page, a recent study in 2014 in Iran shows that people living near mobile phone-based transceivers antennas show symptoms such as nausea, headache, discomfort, nervousness, depression, sleep disturbances, memory loss, and lowering libido. Look at it, that's page 7. I think those are the things you are referring to. We will not know. Okay, you will say, but they said this, I'm coming. Do you want this to be part of the recommendation? Because they have pointed it out in their main report that it has been found that the nearness of this thing to residential houses can cause those things we have mentioned.
You see, the point is that because most of these reports do come in late, but what should be paramount is that if I take a report, even if I don't have the time to go through the entire document, I should look at the findings and the recommendations. Between the findings and the recommendation, I should have an idea exactly of what you are saying is not captured in the findings. But where? Which of them?
From my head, it's in the report. It's in the report, page 7. Unless, let's listen to Chairman. Unless you want to tell us that findings will be part of the other paper.
Mr. Speaker, findings in this report are on page 22. No, I've seen what you are saying, but what I'm saying is it should be tidier. After all of what has gone through, the committee has gone through in terms of the hearings, they should distill it. They should distill it to the findings, and then from the findings you draw the recommendations.
Yes, he's right. The chairman of Rules and Business is right. That your findings should be, in fact, it should be the next to the recommendation, because your recommendation will come from the finding.
Like that. You didn't go through it. No, page 22 has your findings of observation. Page 27 has your recommendation, which is after. And then page 31 has your conclusion. And all the things you asked of, they're all embedded in. No, it's there. You can finally, in the course of the investigation. Sorry, sir.
As the chairman of some business is only saying that you must be able to look at the finding at a glance. And he is right. So, Honorable Siaka, in line with what we are discussing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As good as the report is, and what I want to buttress is that hazards are measured. And in the report, it's not that I'm criticizing it. For instance, if it's supposed to be measured, sir.
We can only look at recommendation. You comment on recommendation. If you now think there is an important matter to be added to the recommendation, you can come by the way of amendment. You can't discuss the reports. It's recommendation that you can discuss. So I will now go to recommendation. After finishing the recommendation, if you think there is a particular issue you want added to the recommendation, because as honorable member, you have all the opportunity in the world when the another committee or a committee is set up for a particular purpose to go and make your input right there. So when you come to the floor, please, I'm just saying the point, don't assume. Please don't assume. No, it's not on the recommendation because I've not called any recommendation. I've not called. That's why don't assume. The house is a procedural piece. It's a place where you have to apply the procedure. If I say recommendation 1 now, if you have any issues, you can take the next 20 hours to discuss it. But if you not discuss general, you say it's a recommendation. Which recommendation? So, recommendation 1, Honorable Shagari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Amina Shagari, Yabo Shagari constituency in Sokoto State. But I want to speak generally on the recommendations. I think the committee did a wonderful job, but they would have made it more concise because the recommendations are somehow repetitive. Okay, sir, recommendation 1, recommendation, yes, sir, recommendation 1B, which says conduct regular public enlightenment to inform, educate, and empower Nigerian consumers on the best practices and uses of telecommunications gadgets. I'm asking, which empowerment are they talking about, sir? If you say you want to enlighten them on the use of electronic gadgets, fine. But which enlightenment? Empowerment. No, come on. I think it should be urge NOAA, if I may just urge National Orientation Agency to conduct regular public enlightenment to inform and educate Nigerian consumers on the best practices and uses of telecommunications gadgets. I think that makes more sense than to empower them. And this second one, sir. Okay, sir.
Mr. Chairman, we can empower the public through knowledge. Mr. Chairman, for example,
just sit down.
Bushagari, he got it correctly. I didn't want to answer on his behalf. When you give people knowledge, you have empowered them. Even by stating the data alone, that if a mast is going to be installed very close to your building, if it is not so meter away, don't allow. You have empowered such person and he has basis of fighting the installation of such a thing. So, Nkiruka is adding to knowledge is power.
It's okay, I concede. But may I continue, sir? On recommendation 1, sir. If you look at recommendation 1, 2, is it A, B now, which says carry out public awareness on the health and environmental impact of citing, I think is what this BTC should be, I think, marked in the residential areas. This is almost, this could be taken. That I'm on the other paper, sir. If you go to, no, sir, it's still one. Okay, it's recommendation 2, but they are using Roman numerals. Okay, sir.
So recommendation 2 now, because the number is Roman figure, so recommendation Roman figure 2.
Yes, sir, I think 2B is already taken care of under the 1B. It's all, in carrying out public awareness. That's what I'm saying, that they're just too repetitive kind of. They could have just made their work concise and easy for reference.
Okay, Honorable Shagari, let's read it, although it does not matter because we have come to a conclusion on recommendation 1. Conduct regular public enlightenment to inform, educate, and empower Nigerian consumers on the best practices and uses of telecommunication gadgets. In these days, this is the gadget. In the second case that you are referring to, carry out public awareness on the health and environmental impact of siting. So now it's specific on the health and environmental thing on this. So there are two different things in my own opinion too. Maybe they are trying to be too detailed, that's why they are putting it. So, and listen to honorable colleagues, although they have turned it to a town hall meeting, but listen to what they have said. Because I would have expected you to raise up your hand properly and we call one person. They said one is referring to Nestra and the other one is referring to NCC. So,
okay, so the recommendations are supposed to draw from from the findings and the body of work that has been done. Now, from what you read on page 7, it has already been established that these radiations pose great danger to health. Now, you have come to No, I said you drew attention to it. Are you okay? I forget about whether you read it. I read it too. Now, but the point I'm making is that now you have the recommendation 2, B, and C. Especially C is now still talking about carrying out studies and monitoring of the health and environmental impact of it. So is it that the ones that they came up with are not enough, that we still have to come up with new studies?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The one on page 7 was a memorandum submitted by Nigerian Society of Engineers, and the recommendation is for NESRA to take that recommendation and further do the research on it. That's what we had.
Downside.
Not exactly, Mr. Chairman. The recommendation C is the studies here. I don't think we're talking about engineers. This is a different ball game altogether. So I don't understand really. Still, I'm not clear.
What what they have done in essence, this is the only way we can understand it is whether you site the mass very residential, close to residential building, or you maintain the standard, there are still health-related matters, whether or not. But the first, which is important, is maintain the standard first and foremost. That if your mass is to be sited 50 meters away, make sure it's sited 50 meters away. That does not eliminate the fact that at the end of the day, you're still going to have health hazard that you are going to face. And that is what these agencies are being urged to continuously monitor. That's the summary. So this is the way you must understand the report. The report is trying to treat two things. That first and foremost, maintain the standard. The mass must be so meter away. You must understand the gadget. You must do this. Despite maintaining the standard, there will still be attendant health challenges that these agencies must now monitor. When you understand it in that context, then we don't have problem with the recommendation. Like for example, let me give you an example. Cocaine to us is a bad drug, but most of the vaccines that are used is the major material, is the major substance there. And so they will say this thing is bad, don't use. But when it is now used medically, you have to monitor. They have monitored the effects on the vaccine that will be finally. So when you say do this, that does not mean that you have solved all the environmental or health challenges that they will pose. So that is it. I think what the man was able to do, the chairman of the committee, probably because he's an engineer, he wanted to be detailed enough to be able to state all that are related to agencies. So that is the context where we have to understand this. Please take your other paper. It's 13. You have Roman figure A, 2 ABC. I will consider them as 13 altogether. 13 altogether, not 21. 13 altogether. Unless in your own opinion, if there is any recommendation you want to be represented by one paragraph, let us know. Okay, we are recommendation 2. You want recommendation 2 matched? Look at it. If there is any, you have the floor, but let's.
What they did was that they now made NCC recommendations different. They now went to NASDA and did their own recommendations different, which are almost the same thing. We are talking about closeness, these masks, and the health hazard that they pose. So if you now, at the end, why did you at the end now look at the last recommendation that Nigerian Communications Commission and National Environmental Standards and Regulatory Enforcement Agency should monitor and regulate the installation of privately owned telecommunications masts? Why did you merge these two together? Why didn't you just take, drop them so that you have very few recommendations instead of, all kinds of.
In fact, the thing is so beautifully done that having stated all these functions above that NESTA and NCC must do, you must now go back and make sure you perform those functions. That's how it is done. It's basic. In fact, by that alone shows that they know what they are talking about. They have stated it. NCC, this is what you must do. NESTA, this is what you must do. Then finally, you must always go back to make sure these things are done. This is good. So recommendation 2 carried. Shagari, you are attacking your friend that they are engineers. You want to? Not they, you are attacking your friend here. Recommendation 3. 4. Okay, 4. Chairman rules and
Well, thank you. I seem to find a little contradiction between 4 and the one that we have already passed. That is recommendation 1F. 1F, if I may just read out, says, quote, the dismantling remediation of any mast that falls short of the 10-meter setback standards. Now, when you come to this 4, it's saying that further research should be carried out to determine the appropriate distance to buildings for establishing base stations to avoid arbitrary establishment. Shagari, let me learn now. I have the floor, please. Buildings for establishing base stations to avoid arbitrary establishment of minimum setback to buildings.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That recommendation 4 is as a result that GSM radiation is a recent invention and there are daily activities on research, especially today's newspaper on the Guardian, precisely page 49. There is the latest development with respect to GSM radiation, which were not there before, and I read cell phone radiation linked to cancer in rats in first ever large US government-funded study. So as the event involved, then there might be a new standard of which that should be followed. Therefore, means if such invention comes up, then there must be a regularized standard. Mr. Chairman, there might be a review. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
I know why this report is difficult to easily, because it's scientific and it has to be reviewed. No, I know what I'm saying. It has to be reviewed. No, it's true. It has to be reviewed. You can go on and mention examples of things that have to be reviewed. So recommendation 4 is carried. 5, 6. Recommendation 7, recommendation 8, 9, 10, Africa 11, 12, 13. Honorable Shagari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. May I move that the House do revert back to plenary to report its progress.
Chairman rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the acting leader of the House. I so second.
The House hereby reverts back to plenary to report progress. The House in the Committee of the Whole resumed consideration of the report of the Committee on Police Affairs on a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Police Trust Fund and for related matters 2017 and approve clauses 4, 18 and 19 and long title of the bill. Honourable colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the ad hoc committee to investigate the health implication of mounting telecommunication masts close to buildings and approve recommendations 1 to 13 of the report. Honorable Shagari.
May I move that the House should adopt the recommendations in the report considered during the Committee of the Whole. And so,
Chairman rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second the motion as moved by the acting leader of the House.
Those in favor of the motion that the report considered the Committee of the Whole be adopted, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Gary.
may I move that the House do adjourn, sir? May I move that the House to adjourn till tomorrow, 11 o'clock. I so move.
Chairman rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion for adjournment to tomorrow, 7th of February, 11 a.m. Assembly moved by Honorable Shagari, the acting leader of the House. I so second.
The House stands adjourned till tomorrow, Wednesday, 7th of February 2018, 11 a.m.